Greetings, holy ones. I am Fabian. Welcome to ChristosAvatar.com. Today we'll be talking about the structures of reality. What is real reality? Because we have surely been taught something completely different. And there we are in Earth. We start our understanding, we start our comprehension at the universe with Earth. And in this universe, it's called the carbon matter. Carbon matter universe. And since we're carbon matter beings, we are called incarnates of Earth. Okay? So we are, first of all, spirits having a human experience. We are living in not a physical world, but a hologram of matter. It is a 15-dimensional time matrix. And it's made up of 5 density universes. And it's important to realize the difference, DU, density universe, and the difference between a dimension of this world. Here we are in this 15th dimension, the highest level of this hologram of matter world. See, 1, 2, 3, and just D stands for dimension. So you realize we're in the carbon matter density universe, number 1. And every universe, like this one, is made up of 3 dimensions. Okay? So the universe that you go to next, that you ascend to, is Tara. Earth, she becomes Tara, and you're now in the carbon etheric matter universe, made of 3 dimensions as well. 4, 5, and 6. See, as once you were incarnates, now you are souls. A soul is not something that possesses you like you learn from these religions of the surface. Understand, a soul is a level of consciousness. And there's 3 of them, like all these other universes. So this is the universe 2. Oh, but we keep on going to the next density universe of etheric matter. Oh, we no longer have carbons anymore. And Earth has just, from Tara, has now evolved to Gaia. So, as you can see, we're moving up the higher dimensions of consciousness, of mind. So once you were souls, eventually you ascend into the higher dimensions. Now you're over souls in this etheric matter universe, and Earth has now ascended to Gaia. So, but we're not over, because there's another density universe, and this one's called the hydroplasmic prematter. So as you can see, not only are these stages of consciousness, like the subconscious, going into the instinctual, going into the reasoning, going into the astral, going into the archetype, the angelic, the etheric, monadic, karyatic. So you understand, you're not just consciousness, but also biology, matter. You're moving up in matter, up in consciousness. And notice, let me come back here. There we go. A little bit more of our existence. So we are coming out of through time. There's spheres within spheres within spheres. Well, look, there's 15 of them. So what's outside of 15? So here's 15. What happens when you ascend out of 15? Well, then, my beloveds, you are outside of this matrix. 15-dimensional time matrix is a simulation of reality, is a hologram world. This is a hologram system. 15 dimensions of consciousness. That means 15 levels of increasing frequency vibration until you get to the final level and you exit. You leave what you call a matrix. Have you seen The Matrix? We are in this matrix of 15-dimensional levels, and once you leave, you are now an ascended master. Congratulations. And as you can see here as well, there are 3 stages or levels. Wow, we're still not done. So after the simulated matrix, which is, by the way, let me fix the screen again. Which is you can understand this is something that's part of a greater God worlds beyond even these ascended master levels. But for the time being, understand this realm is called the energy matrix, where the 3 levels of ascended mastery are. Okay, so now what happens is ascended masters, they go into the top level down. So the ascended masters, they come and they create life in these in the first level of our universe. So you go through the levels, and these beings will create races in this world. See, this is the density 4, the 15th dimension. Let me show you a similar one. See, density, there's 15 dimension, and we have the violet flame. Amethyst Order, Royal House of Avion. They're called Braharama. They are of the 15th dimension. So, when we talk about these structures of your real reality, we're also talking about races. And the beings that live at this level, you could say their title would be called Rishi. Their level of consciousness is a Rishi being. 3 levels of that. You will start to realize when you go on a spiritual path, you'll be starting to see lots of 3s. 1, 2, 3. 3 primal light fields, 3 primal sound fields, 3 levels of ascended mastery and cosmic mind. Understand. So let me show a little bit of this. Now, this isn't just spirituality, okay? This is science as well. This is spiritual science. And this is coming to you from the Indigo. Starseeds of Inner Earth. Watch that video. Thank you. Machiwa. So here is a explanation in times of years. So from this whole density, there's 5 of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. One of them takes 26,556 years. So as you start here in density 1, you want to evolve into density 2. So you ascend and go into this universe. Okay? So it would take 26,556 years as a cycle of the planet Earth going through these cycles of time. Let me show you a different map. This was not zoomed in right. I'll fix that. Let me actually get this straightened out. So this is called, well, this is density 1. This is this, but in a bigger blowout picture. So we can see more details inside. So not only is there 3 dimensions, but each dimension has what's called a continuum, a time continuum. And that, remember, this is 1 dimension, is 8,852 years. And so one of these time continuums is, just divide that in half, you get 4,426. Okay? So let me get my little hand thing. Now, so that's what we are describing here. Here's a whole density universe timeline, is that 26,556 years. A third of that, which is 1 dimension. So this is 3 dimensions, like we explained just now. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Everyone has 3 dimensions, and those together make one universe, a density universe. A densities of consciousness and levels of biology. So now half of that, half of a dimension, which we showed on the smaller one, there's lines in between too, called continuums. Let me get a drink of water here. So there's 2 ascension cycles. Let me go back out. A little patience, sorry. This is an explanation right here that there's 2 ascension cycles in one of these 26,000, let me see, up here, 26,556 years, which has 144 incarnations. I'll explain that next. But there's 2 of these ascension cycles, and there's one right there, and there's the other, the first one, and during this one of these periods, one of many. Right now we're in this one, and now this is an example of the ideas of what year we're looking at. See, that original one was 22,326 BC. Now you think we understand the age of the human civilization? No, we don't. And so, but we will. You will remember. And so, where you can see there was an indication of 2017 AD, a few years ago, is the midpoint of this ascension cycle, and it won't end until 4,230 AD. So, okay, so now this is also explanation I was going to tell you of the incarnations. It made a reference of 144 incarnations. So during this entire period of 26,556 years, called a time cycle, during this whole period, you're going to live 144 times. You're going to reincarnate, see my little mouse? Reincarnate, 144 times. Okay? So during this whole time cycle. So, and you also will have 12 females and 12 males. So, 12 times 12 is that 144. So, and we abbreviated it here. So you can see every time continuum, you're going to have 24 incarnations. Or no. In one, yeah, okay, so this is 1 dimension, but 2 time continuums. So that is 48. 12, 12, 12, 12, 48. So you're going to have 48 again, and then you're going to have 48 again, and you're going to get up to 144 different incarnations, and you're living these lives. You're living life. in these cycles of time. And yes, there is time. As you can see, this big map is a time matrix. It has cycles of time within each other. And yes, the universe is spherical, more oval shaped, like egg shaped. So we call them egg shapes within eggs, within eggs, within eggs. And you are in here, way down this low levels of Earth. And right now we're experiencing 3 dimensions of consciousness: the subconscious, the instinctual, the reasoning. Now, when you ascend, you're going to go up to the astral, the archetype, and the angelic. And you're going to have to go through these cycles of time: 8,000 years, 8,852 years to finish one ascension level. If you ascend, maybe you're going to be a naughty person and you're going to descend. You're going to go downwards. So an ascended master comes into the matrix, a time matrix hologram world. That means it's not physical. That means it's an energy structure. This is a structure of energy, not a structure of actual physicality, externalization, only the appearance of externalization. So an ascended master is outside of this matrix, and they choose when they want to. They'll come in, to do a service contract or whatever they want to do, and they'll come in and go through this levels of stepping down, and they'll come to the Rishi. As long as they get in the matrix at this level of Rishi, they will be able to now choose what race they want to incarnate down here. Where do I want to go? Do I want to go into the fourth density? Do I need to go into this density? Whatever one this ascended master wants to work on, they will choose a race. And if they're in the human drama, they want to help the humans and their ascension problems, they're going to ascend into the inner earth. They're going to find one of the inner earth races, and they're going to incarnate in there. And notice it says D 3.5. That means it's dimension 3.5. You're like, huh? How's that? Well, they're doing this through technology. It's called a frequency modulation. It's changing the energy, and notice it's not actually in Earth. It's connected to Earth, but at a 3.5 frequency vibration. So while most humans are right here, because that we're getting close to the end of this whole period, right? We're getting close. We're around here, 2021, about here. So we got a couple thousand years left. And then when you get to a couple thousand years, as you saw, we'll be right at the edge, right here, right at the edge. But we're still not in inner Earth. Inner Earth is a leap in time. It's way over here. So what's going on with these star seeds? And I showed you guys in my starseed video. So these beings are coming in. The ascended masters are coming in to the Rishi level, and then they'll find a race to help out some races, and they chose us. So now they're coming down to the right here. So if you could follow this in the circle, it's right about here. They're almost to 4D, which would be here, 4.0. This is 3.0, 3.1 to 3. Well, this will be 4.0. So you graduate, you ascend, and we got reference to the chakra. Dimension 3 is chakra 3. This is the chakra system. You have your subconscious mind. This is your root chakra, your sacral. These all have. This is part of who we are. This is our heritage. This is our DNA. This is a strand of DNA of what a typical contemporary human has. We have the potential of a 12-strand DNA called a diamond sun DNA. A diamond sun DNA has 12 strands, but right now we're only got 1, 2, and 3, and a tiny stub of 4. And get a drink of water here, sorry. So, if you have, now let's go back to this just a second. We are physical in D3, 3D. But our consciousness is astral. Our consciousness is in the 4D. So whatever your consciousness is, let's say you're up here, an angelic mind consciousness, then your physical body would be here. It's always one dimension lower than your consciousness. So we're physical, so that means in the D3, so that means our consciousness is in the next level up. And it would keep doing that. And so when you sin, that means you're going to be physical here because your consciousness evolved to here. You're not experiencing it physically, but you're experiencing this physically. So when New Agers say, we're going to 5D, we're going to 5D, no, honey, your consciousness is, but your physicality is now going to be in D4. No longer in the density universe of in D3. So now this is a process of ascension, and that's what these beings are doing. And it's not just us ascending, it's the planet. The planet is ascending. We're on the planet. And so that means we're going to ascend. Okay? And she's going to ascend to Tara. She's going to go through these cycles of time, 8,800 years, 8,000, like 9,000 years, 9,000 years. And then she's going to be turning into Tara. When we go out of D3, ascend to D4, then we're going to be in this density universe, and the planet will be totally different, will be completely different. Now remember I showed you lived 144 lives. Well, those one individual entity is of this density universe 1 is called a Taran. At this level it's called Dora. So look, you can keep adding these up. Look how many consciousnesses you have. And even though we perceive this as in the future, and more in the future, but these are all happening at the same time, simultaneously. So imagine all of these moving through time, right now, together, all together, simultaneously, at the same time. We're all moving through time. I'm moving through time here on Earth. Some other person from another planet in this density is moving forward, and same with all these levels of consciousness. All these levels of consciousness. As you ascend or descend, that's another concept, is you could also not do your spiritual work, do your DNA work, then you're going to descend. If you're a negative being, if you're service to yourself, instead of others. Because this is a spiritual war. Understand? And what I was going to finish explaining first is that these are called adjacent Earths. See, they're across from Earth. They're across from Earth. It's the next evolution of Earth. They're the adjacent future Earths. These are time cycles. We're going through time cycles. We're going through time continuums. 4,426. 4,426. Okay? So Earth goes through continuums. There's 8,800, 8,000, and keep going. And then she's going to be Tara. And then we're going to be Dora beings, conscious incarnating which are souls. Density 2 are souls. Don't forget, we're in incarnates right now, but we'll become souls, and then we'll become oversouls. There's your chakras as oversouls. There's your consciousness levels. Now, next density universe, the hydroplasmic liquid light of the avatar level. These are 3 levels of avatar consciousness. Christic mind. Now you know where that Christos comes from. Buddhic mind, Buddhic, Nirvanic, and you keep going on to higher levels. This is what we're involved with. This is what we're doing here. And since we're also, you got to realize, we're in the middle of building these strands of DNA. Like we'll have 1, 2, 3, and we're trying to get this one completed so we can ascend. If you don't complete this, you guys, you don't ascend. You won't ascend, and depending on your energies, you could de-evolve and lose DNA and lose your go down in your consciousness, like these some dark avatars. Dark avatars. Okay, we'll explain the Phantom Matrix in a little bit. They could be, these beings are gonna fall down, keep falling down. Why? Because they're serving. They're against the Christos. They're against the Creator. They're against life. They're dark beings. Like some of the, let me go back out in this map of the races, but these are the Draconians. They're insectoid reptilian dinos. Dragon moths is their nickname, and those are the Draconian races that you're familiar with if you're into the UFO or abduction phenomena. So, and then we got their buddies over here. They're like avian reptiles. That makes them gargoyles. Winged gargoyle, reptilian. Can you imagine a winged reptilian? Okay. Let me get this. Sorry. So, you can also see the drama that we're in. We have these inner Earth races, and our Christos races are our experiment that we're involved within, and then you have the Anunnakis and the Draconian hybrids, reptilians, insectoids like the Zeta gray aliens. Okay, these are our DNA that we're talking about. So you need to finish this. See, we only have 3, and this big one, or with a capacity of 12, but this is a totally different being. It's an indigo. And some of you watching this video are indigos. Let me get a drink, sorry. Now, so it's like some amazing thing in our spiritual journey. This is part of our heritage. This is part of what we are. So it's like something, knowledge that is being brought back to us, and this is now the next explanation is, what is this? This is always when you the universe, one of these time matrices is created, there's always an opposite created with it. So there's always going to be a parallel. There's a parallel version of this entire thing, except for the energy matrix. The time matrix is actually, like it says, a 15-dimensional system. So this isn't part of the time matrix. So this copy over here is only up to 15 dimensions, because it's not, you're not duplicating the energy matrix. So this is the parallel Earth, and that's because this universe that we're experiencing right now is the particle universe, and the opposite of particles, well, is antiparticles. So the antiparticle universe. So there's two versions of you yourself over here, and the parallel Earth version of yourself. Okay, it's like, what's going on here? And maybe some of the weird, strange, paranormal things have happened to you are because of your doppelganger, your parallel self from the parallel place. And realize even there's a parallel Tara, a parallel Gaia, a parallel, Armatena, and a parallel inner Earth. So, and when we go through this process, right? Let me fix this. When we go through this, living all these 144 different conscious lives, we're sometimes transmuted, and we'll do lives over here in the antiparticle universe. So we'll jump around from over here, from parallel Earth, and and then we'll come back to Earth. And also, there's some very interesting thing. Okay, there's Earth, and there's our parallel. Some interesting thing is when we swap, because we're going to go over here, and they're going to swap and come over here. And so when they come and live here for 8,000 years, it's like two time continuums. So it'd be, the total would be 8,000 years or so. And so, and then we swap back. We're gonna see remains of what they did. And when they come back to their home in parallel, they're gonna see remains that we did over here. So it's very strange that this is some journey you're gonna have to go through in your own conscious awareness and understanding, and realize that we've shown you this DNA of somebody with 24 strands, and all the DNA is related to a dimension. And if there's only goes up to like this 12, for example, this is a 12 strand DNA, right? That's 12 dimensions. That's 12 strands. So that goes up to here. So you're saying, so this being has 40 or 24, and that's because let me go out to a big level again and use a little, sorry, I'm slow at this, I'm still learning this little computer thing here, or recording thing. See, this is why 1 through 12, and then now 1 through 12, that's why it's possible for this being to have 24 strands of DNA. Because of the particle universe existing right now, and at the same time, the opposite antiparticle universe, base magnetism and vibration is the opposite of base electric and oscillation. Vibration and oscillation are not the same thing. They're two composing. They're two opposite. Now you see why we're polarized? We're polarized. We want to bring these together, and then we'll be omnipolar. We'll be all together as one. Interesting, huh? It helps to have a diagram like this. Now let's explain the Phantom Earth, because this is just something that is also, you could say, some of our souls here and our drama here in Earth is involving these ETs. This is a spiritual war, okay? We're going to have some of these high-level beings, okay? Like the Anunnaki, they're at this level, D9, but their creators are up here, Anu Elohim. And so this isn't my races video, extraterrestrial races video, I'm going to make a whole video about that. But I can touch on some of the things that are relevant to this video. And that's just explaining to you that, this is a spiritual war. We got fallen angelic races. They're ETs. ETs that live in this system. They're ETs from this system, or ETs from this system, or ETs from this system. And also possibly the inner earth beings. Don't forget them. Okay? So this is our heritage, you guys. This is part of who we are. I mean, so it's a great honor. I mean, to have this, to be part of this, and for you guys to receive this code. It's like, regarding the parallel Earth in the greater structure of planetary physics, the Earth is stationed within the frequency bands of 1, 2, and 3. 1, 2, and 3. Within the particle universe. And Earth has its counterpart, like I explained, the antiparticle universe. So, two reality systems. This is called parallel Earth. And and we have parallel Earth and Earth. They run on parallel time continuums. So, but they're actually, it's the parallel Earth over here is ahead of us. Like, I would say, like 8 or 9 years. And like a time difference. So let's say the year 2000 for us over there was 2008. So it's like the difference in years but it will change over time, especially during an ascension cycle. That period of time will actually get smaller and smaller. So, but like in 2000 on parallel Earth, which was 1992 over here, these two, there was some races warring for control. And so there's been wars, and we're in a war with all kinds of races and beings. And that's why we're learning this knowledge to remember and to start doing what we're supposed to do. Because while you see the green ones, the pink, magenta, and the gold ones, which is, violet flame, see the color, and the color gold flame, and the blue flame, which has a little bit of green, and that's why you guys hear about the Emerald Order. It's called the Emerald Order, but we call it the blue flame. And the first race that these beings created were these races. Like the Pegasus, it's a real being. And they're hybrids. See, it's a bird, horse, deer. You got the whale people right here. You got the reptilians, insectoids, and dinos right here. You got the dragons, winged reptilians. You got cat people. I gotta keep drinking water. Sorry, guys. So, now, just a moment. Let me go back out of these things. The inner Earth is related to Atlantis, and Lemuria, and when that whole problem and disaster happened with the sinking of Atlantis, people started retreating real quick, like, underground. It's like a haven. It's like below the Earth's crust within a three-dimensional frequency modulation zone. That means that implies technology. Okay, they're using technology to make it 3.5, and it's called a frequency modulation zone, and it exists between the Earth and parallel Earth. And let me get the little hand thing, because the Earth is close to here, so she only has to go 1/2 a dimension, and then you'll see the inner Earth. When you're with her and you rise to this level and your DNA, you'll be able to experience. Remember, if you want to be in inner Earth, which is also called Agartha, I mean, there's large civilizations exist in these lands since times prior to Atlantis. And this is when the Melchizedek starseeds, well, and others began to retreat from surface life. You know, these underground civilizations, they exist to this day. And occasionally members, you know, with come and visit the surface Earth through these hidden caverns that link Earth's surface to these frequency modulation zones of the inner Earth. So both the starseed races, the Melchizedeks, and a race called the Templar Melchizedeks, which is kind of like an offshoot, they reside within these lands, under the primary guardianship of the speakers of the Blue Flame, if you ever heard of that, or the Melchizedek priesthood. And don't forget the priesthoods of all in the inner Earth, and the priesthoods of Mu, like from Lemuria. And but this is Tara. They're part of Tara. It's density 4 Tara. I mean, these subterranean lands were of inner Earth. I mean, they were originally called Ar-Ratoth. Ar-Ratoth. Later it was Agrathath. And I guess for about 3,000 years it has been referred to as Agartha. There's a history here, guys, and I'm going to make a separate video about this. And I just mentioned a little bit about it, because during the sinking of... It's about the sinking of Atlantis. And that created, if you guys know a little bit about it, it created explosions within the Earth's crust, and it created like anomalies of flooding and like a little slight pole tilt, but there was destruction of part of the land masses, and there was a small period of global ice age, and it was, I know it sounds crazy, but it was 9,500 years ago. And during that time, there was the Dracon were here, but they left during this period. They said, screw this, because this is some serious problems. It destroyed, it was like human races started to retreat it underground, and they created sophisticated cultures beneath Earth's crust. And, and some races, it's like, since the conditions will stabilize eventually, and so some will return back, but there's definitely civilizations still in there. And the Lemurian, many members of that race, because of what happened to Atlantis, they went underground. They became involved with those priests of Mu, that's them, the Lemuria, and who they became responsible for guarding the portals to inner Earth. The Taran priests of Mu commissioned many of their immortal members, because they do have immortal bodies, as guardians of the inner Earth since the beginning of the Turanesium project. And you can watch my Turanesium video about that. That's about the angelic human race experiment going on in the Earth. So, but, just to finish this up, the first monument, to be created was the original Sphinx. And it was like actually used to cover the portal to the inner Earth. And since they're subterranean, there was a passageway, and the Sphinx was used to like cover it up. It was a portal passage that led to the Ark of the Covenant, and I'll be talking about that in videos too, as well as the rod and staff that was mentioned in the Bible. But in practical terms, the Sphinx was constructed to serve as a fortification for the inner Earth portals. I mean, the portals are a big deal, but it was also a safe house, though. The Sphinx there's a lot of interesting things about that place. It's a library of sacred records and text. And it's also served the purpose of housing the great energy transmitting machines, that were charged with this, what's it called? UHF, the fifth dimensional energy from the Ark of the Covenant. and also they had the smaller ankhs, the Egyptian ankhs, and it was infused in kind of like the same way. So, but anyways, that's a little bit more, and I'll be, you can watch my Inner Earth video, and there's a lot of things that you don't hear about in the New Age movement. So now this Phantom Matrix, it's an unnatural black hole system. Okay, it's it continually is siphoning energy out of our system. Let me zoom out. What you call the living system, right? So now it's like we're a host. It's like it was like in 22,326 BC. The founders, recognized that this Phantom Matrix, it was created during the what you call the Lyran Elohim Wars. Let me zoom in a little bit. Okay, that was 250 billion years ago. Okay, but it reached like critical mass accretion. Okay, the black hole, it's a black hole system. It pulled, it's pulled like so much energy into here from the living systems, and like more, it's like almost equaled. I mean, but if this reaches critical mass, by drawing, living time matrix from they're feeding off us. They're vampires. But we could be permanently pulled in there if we don't do something to do that, because the Phantom Earth, they don't know this is they know it's a finite world. You're no longer giving let me get my little hand thing. You're no longer getting life force energy from source. You're cut off from source. They're right here. They got cut off from this nirvanic avatar level. See, their DNA only goes up to 11.5. They have a mutated DNA. They cannot ascend. They're in this black hole subspace distortion cycle. It's finite. That means things are functioning, but it's using their finite energy. And it's not connected to the morphogenic field of Earth and Tara. So this is being called cut off of the grid. This grid being cut off of the energy grid. It's no longer, the planet, Phantom Earth, is no longer attached to the evolutionary imprint contained within the morphogenetic fields. It's no longer capable of evolving, ascending out of the time cycle. And, it's no longer considered an ascension planet, Phantom Earth. It's called a descending planet. Such a planet, because we're not the only ones stuck in Phantom Earth. I mean, this Earth stuck in Phantom Earth, in Phantom Matrix, which is an anomaly. It happened because of things like the Philadelphia experiment or the Montauk Project. These ETs know what they're doing. But such a planet, they'll evolve within its density universes and time cycles, slowly expending energy held within its core of the planet, until particle pulsation rhythms will just slow down until it's dying. It's gonna die. It might take billions of years, but its temperatures are cooling, eventually implode, become a black hole. I mean, it will take billions of years for a descending planet to meet this death, but it's gonna happen. So, but this is, let me go back out. Excuse me. This is the human DNA imprint. So we are stuck down here trying to get this back. This is what we're talking. talking about ascension for, why we're talking about going on a spiritual path. I mean, now you've seen the races. We're talking about the races on my website. You guys, if you want to check out my website, and you can see all of these diagrams, and there's more articles and information. And the DNA is important, and but this gives you a good idea, a good starting point of what we're here for. And you want to develop yourself, and the indigos are right here, and most of the human race is down here. They're another whole spectrum of consciousness. So, but you too have 12, up to 12. And if you have all of those activated, all of them turned on, then you are an ascended master. And that's what this is about. I mean, not an ascended master, you are an avatar. Sorry, let me correct myself. Avatars. So, eventually you'll become a Rishi being, and eventually you'll leave this and be an ascended master. And sometimes you'll come back in here, and then maybe you'll just want to explore life, help out life, and maybe you'll incarnate into a life and then forget that you're a starseed, or forget that you were a ascended master, forget that you were trying to come here and help the earth. You're really incarnated from coming from inner earth, and this is what this is all about, you guys. I thank you for watching this video. If you have any questions, because I know it's not like the easiest information, but well, I'm trying to break it down in a way that you can at least start to understand and visualize the reality that we're actually in. Okay? And you guys can see this, and I'm going to make sure you're able to download it or look at it in a high resolution, and zoom in on it, and or even just save it on your computer. And this is knowledge. This is knowledge. You could say lost knowledge. You can say secret knowledge. You can say forgot. You're remembering. Some of you are indigos. Some of you are starseeds. And it's important to learn about this knowledge, because and if you want to know more, take a look at my website, please. And if you have any questions, please feel free to contact me here on YouTube, or on my other links and contacts, such as in the description of this video. You guys, please like my video. This always takes a lot of work, and I'm so happy to be part of it. And so a little bit of that blessing from you, it makes a huge difference. And please subscribe so you can see more videos like this, coming back to our memory, coming back to the race. I love you, Holy Ones. Thank you for watching. Namaste.